You're about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dahlia, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So, I really probably, my next job is probably going to be a strategist, maybe for the GOP or Democrats. I see the mistakes that so many people make. One such mistake that I think is really, really stupid is calling Michelle Obama a man. Josh Hogan at the UFC event, I believe he said, and Michelle Obama is a man. And, that was dumb, just absolutely dumb. And it's dumb for a variety of reasons. I remember people were talking about that, during the Obama presidency, but then it came out a lot more during the Biden run. And I think the reason why people started to bring that up is because they were afraid that Michelle Obama would run and she could be very, very popular. In fact, I'm kind of shocked that they're not going with Michelle Obama over Kamala Harris. Michelle Obama could crush it in the polls. She's very, very popular, very smart, very, very well spoken. No, none of this word salad stuff, and very accomplished. But from what I understand, she doesn't want to go into politics. And so calling her a man, there's a whole lot of issues with that. She did give birth. It's hard to be a man and give birth. Now, from what we understand, Sasha and Malia, they were born through in vitro fertilization. I think she struggled with fertility. Doesn't mean she's a man. From what we understand, she did not use a surrogate. She actually gave birth. So in order to do that, you have to have uterus. So, if she gave birth, that puts an end to that. I understand there's a lot of scrutiny over what we hear, as it pertains to the Obamas. Why would a biographer, when Obama was in college, write that he was from Kenya? That's a pretty big typo. If he's Hawaiian, why would you write about him being born in another country? That's did you copy and paste somebody else's biography? So I know a lot of people are like, what's going on here with all that? But, he was a president twice and had a Hawaiian birth certificate. And so right now it's moot. And trying to say that Michelle Obama is a man doesn't help. But from a strategy standpoint, if the GOP thinks that's a good move, I don't think they do. I think they're cringing with what Josh Hogan said, because that just kind of stirs the pot of, Michelle Obama would be, a GOP's nightmare if she ran. And I think the GOP really, really wants Kamala Harris running again, because they think they could win, or Gavin Newsom. Michelle Obama, that's tricky because, she was a fairly effective first lady and didn't do it, anything wrong. But where I have a concern with this is why would somebody be bringing that? Why is there such a controversy over Michelle Obama's chromosomes? I mean, who cares? Why do people care? I understand why people care as it pertains to sports. And as I said, we need to be really, really careful. We don't want biological men competing against women in sports. All those decades of progress we made to get women to, be able to compete in the Olympics, and then to tell them that they are inferior to men, not the message we want to send. However, as I said, with intersex or those previously hermaphrodite, those are a little tricky, where I believe 1% of the population is born with both female and male body parts. So they don't get cancer, the testicles are removed, and then we raise that child as a female. When you raise that child as a female, that's all they know. That's all they add. And they do have female characteristics. Just it's easier to raise them as a female than a male if they have both body parts and sex characteristics. And so these individuals end up, oftentimes being taller, being more athletic, but also being feminine. And so many of them are sterile. They can't have kids, but given that hand, one of the benefits they may have is they could be very athletic. And so we do believe that we have a lot of individuals who could be intersex in sports, and I'm fine with that. Somebody deciding to, I'm not winning on the men's side, I'm going to go on the female side. No, but somebody else who this is who I've always been. Let me, make lemonade out of lemons. I can't have kids. I have higher cancer risk. I'm on, but at least I could contribute, and I could contribute to the team. And so I'm very supportive of somebody who was intersex as a baby and raised and wants to contribute, and I think that's it's fantastic. But Michelle Obama, she had kids. We need to stop it. The other thing too is calling somebody a man is a compliment. I mean, if you're trying to insult her, I like men. If you said somebody's a man, I mean, if people are trying to say, look, Kamala Harris struggled, and so don't be putting somebody out there, who's a female, put somebody out there as a man. It's just, the arguments are stupid, and it's a low blow. If the GOP has concerns about the Democratic Party, you don't have to go after somebody's phenotype or karyotype or genetics, or you don't have to go after that. There's enough with Biden's policies. You don't, and what had happened and during the Biden administration and the socialistic takeover of some cities. There's enough there, and so when somebody decides to do a low blow and something ridiculous, which is kind of insulting, especially to women who don't look like the Margot Robbies or the Carpenters or the ones that don't have such feminine, shall we say, women can be, we can be tall, we can be muscular, we could even have upper lip hair. All right, it's okay. That's what women do. 1-877 Doc Dolly. Don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. Because we have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. We'll help you find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. If you were hurt in a car accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, rideshare accident, slip and fall, or any other type of accident, call our 24/7 hotline now and let us help you find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-978-6800. That's 800-978-6800. 800-978-6800. I'm Gina Hart, here with spokesman Jack Mercer. So Jack, tell our listeners who should give us a call right now.
Well, Gina, first off, thank you for having me join you here in the studio. It's always great to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. The call is free, the consultation is free, and with our no-fee guarantee, you pay nothing unless we win you money.
That's great advice. Thanks, Jack. And is it true that the Legal Help Center is open 24/7?
That's right, Gina. We're open anytime you need us, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you or someone you know were injured in an accident of any kind, call now and let us help you find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-978-6800. That's 800-978-6800. 800-978-6800. Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. Not available in California. May not be available in all states.
We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877 Doc Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So CNN has posted the full text of the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding between the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is the document that is supposed to be the deal that is signed on Friday. It is a 14-point document that we believe Iran has agreed to and will sign on Friday in Geneva. So they call it the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding between the U.S. and Iran. So here's the text in full, if you guys have not read it yet. The U.S. and Iran, I'll try to summarize to make it shorter, and their allies in the current war are signing this MOU. They're calling it, right, the Memorandum of Understanding. So you'll hear MOU is basically, they're calling it a memo or deal, okay? Are signing this MOU to declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and undertake from now on not to initiate any war or any military operation against each other, and to refrain from the threat or use of force against each other, and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. The final deal will confirm the permanent termination of the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and other provisions of this paragraph. Now, as Trump had said, Israel has every right to defend itself. So if Hezbollah, who is in Lebanon, not sure why Iran is funding them and is in Lebanon, but it shows you this is the extent. Iran's in a lot of countries, and Lebanon is where Israel Defense Forces has had to shield themselves from and address threats. So Iran needs to stop it, and the U.S. is putting this in writing. However, Trump even said Israel does have a right to defend themselves. My worry is you can't trust Iran. And if they decide, hey, let's go out, because again, when you're working with a terrorist group, they're not using logic. This is why there's been so much back and forth with the Iran regime. Number two, the U.S. and Iran will undertake to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and to refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. Now, I wonder if this means Iran's going to not make any more attempts on the president's life. So it'll be interesting to get a little bit more detail of what that is alluding to. U.S. and Iran commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in maximum 60 days, expendable with mutual consent. Immediately signing of the MOU, number 4, the U.S. will begin its removal of its naval blockade and any disturbances or impediments against Iran, and will fully end the naval blockade within a month. 30 days. During this period, the traffic of vessels will be in proportion to the numbers of pre-war traffic being restored by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The U.S. further undertakes to remove its forces from the proximity of the Islamic Republic of Iran within 30 days after the final deal. Number 5, upon signing of this memorandum, MOU, Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. The traffic of commercial vessels will immediately start, and considering the need for removing the technical and military obstacles and demining, remove the mines, that of the Iran will be instated within 30 days. The Islamic Republic of Iran will conduct dialogue with the Sultanate of Oman to define the future administration of maritime services in the Strait of Hormuz, in discussion with other Persian Gulf littoral states in line with the applicable international law and the sovereign rights of coastal states of the Strait of Hormuz. Why 60 days? Because remember, there is this is the temporary MOU until the final. They're going to be working on the final for the next with the max. It has to be done by 60 days. Number 6, USA undertakes with regional partners to develop a definitive mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, this is what's getting a lot of criticism. They say the mechanism for the implementation of this plan will be finalized as part of the final deal. All required licenses, waivers, and permissions needed for the relevant financial transactions will be granted by U.S. So on one end, it looks like we're going to be spending $300 billion to reconstruct and help the Islamic Republic of Iran. On the other end is Trump being very smart and shrewd, where America is going to be involved in some very key critical aspects, even though the previous one said that Israel and Iran have to be out of each other's business. If there is going to be, money for the reconstruction and economic development, is there something that the U.S. is going to be able to be tied to? It'll be interesting to see. USA undertakes to terminate all types of sanctions against Iran, including the United Nations Security Council resolutions. So all unilateral sanctions, governor's resolutions, primary and secondary, I guess it's going to be a part of the final deal. So they want the sanctions removed. Number 8, Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. I would have liked to see this number 1, but number 8. U.S. and Iran have agreed to resolve the disposition of stockpile enriched material pursuant to a mechanism that will be mutually agreed upon in accordance with the schedule mentioned in paragraph 7, with the minimum methodology to be down blended on site under the supervision of the IAEA. The two parties also agreed to discuss the issue of enrichment and other mutually agreed matters related to the Islamic Republic of Iran's nuclear needs, based on a satisfactory framework being agreed upon by the final deal. The final deal will confirm the provisions of this paragraph, and the Islamic Republic of Iran acknowledge the critical importance of the nuclear issues above missions. They express their intention to immediately address these issues in the negotiations in order to achieve mutual agreement. Number 9, pending the final deal, USA and Iran agreed to maintain the status quo. Iran will maintain the current status quo of its nuclear program, and the U.S. will not impose any new sanctions and will not deploy additional forces in the region. I'm thinking the status quo is they don't have a nuclear program now, but yeah, I just don't trust Iran. Number 10, U.S. undertakes that immediately upon the signing of this MOU until the termination of sanctions, the Treasury will issue waivers for the export of Iranian crude oil, petroleum products and derivatives, and all associated services, including banking, transaction, insurance, and transportation. So they're going to issue waivers allowing Iran to immediately start to export crude oil, because I guess Iran, their storage facilities are filling up. U.S. number 11 plans to make fully available the frozen and restricted funds and assets of Iran upon the implementation of this MOU. U.S. and Iran will mutually agree on the procedures related to the release of the funds during negotiations. Such funds, whether obtaining the original countertransfer, shall be made fully usable for payment. And I guess they're going to be using central bank. Yeah. All right. U.S. and Iran agree that an executive mechanism will be established to monitor the successful implementation of this. I agree. There should be somebody oversight. Number 13, after signing this, the subject to the beginning of the implementation of the previous paragraphs, Iran will start negotiations regarding the final deal on other paragraphs, and the final deal will be endorsed by a binding UNSC resolution. So CNN obtained this. They published it. A diplomat who saw it in the G7 summit confirmed its contents. So CNN said this is the language. Now, is this going to be the exact same draft? Is this going to be the exact wording of what they see in Geneva, Switzerland on Friday? Unsure. People were really criticizing why we didn't see the deal first, but they could still be working on it, and there could be some changes, and until it's signed. Yeah, it's nice to show everybody the draft, but this might not be the final thing. Looking at it, it looks like America gave up a lot more than I expected we would. And so it's unfortunately, not the result that I wanted. The finish the job was get the current regime out, even though the majority of their leaders have died. And it sounds like the Ayatollah's son is easier to work with. They're still crazy. And I don't know, what's going to happen to the people. And I'm sure Iranians are really concerned because they were hoping that there would be a new regime. But I think what went wrong with that was they didn't take over. I mean, Trump said, all right, we did the hard part. Go and take over. But they couldn't. They didn't have guns. I believe we gave guns to the Kurds and they kept them. I'm not sure what happened with that. And so the people of Iran weren't able to help overthrow. America did a huge part of it. But this terrorist regime, and it's like the cartel, you can't overthrow the cartel. The cartel have their hands in so much because they scare everybody. All it takes is one individual that somebody else is aware of to fear, put the fear of life into them and fear of God, and they, they're not going to act. So I would have liked to see new regime change. I would like to see Iranians free. But there might be more to this that we're not getting. 1-877-Dolly.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regenerations. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
We are back on the Dr. Dolly Show. 1-877-Dr. Dolly, 1-877-DOCDALI. So a few weeks ago, I was in Panama City, Florida. My son was there for work, and so I went there to kind of hang out and do some stuff, do some work as well, but separate work. Because my son, works for the military. And while he was in Panama City, I remember my husband saying, guys, careful, shark-infested waters. Be careful out there. And it's interesting because when you go to the beaches in Florida, it's nothing like the beaches in California. Beaches in California are slammed, very, very busy, pretty crowded. In Florida, especially on the Panhandle, just miles and miles of beach to yourself. You're just like, oh my God, this is wonderful. And the water is warmer. And you're going out there. And I used the beach a lot. And then I felt something, I felt like a claw, like a crab or lobster claw. I felt something grab my foot. And I got the hell back on shore. And that was the last I went to the water because I felt something. About a couple hours later, we heard that a woman saw a bull shark nearby, just a little east of where I was on the beach. And so, Florida and sharks, nothing new. In fact, they say, according to the Florida Museum of Natural History, in 2025, just last year alone, there were 11 unprovoked shark attacks, accounting for 44% of all U.S. cases, 17% of unprovoked bites worldwide. They said that's lower than the recent 5-year annual average of 19 incidents. Bull sharks frequently attack swimmers and people in shallow coastal water. Bull sharks also will even tolerate fresh water. So canals, inlets, marinas, fishing docks, bull sharks like. Sadly, we saw somebody get attacked. I believe this was, I know the video came out yesterday. I'm not sure what day he was attacked, but apparently right where my son and I were, by the Naval Support Activity base, 2 staff members went swimming. They went for a swim in the marina. And it's funny because I told my son, I go, there was a shark attack off the base. And he's like, but you aren't supposed to swim there. That's where they fish. You never swim where there's fishermen and docks, but you don't go swimming there. Because when you catch fish and you fillet it, and they throw the scraps back in the water for other animals to eat, so there's no waste. So you have pieces of these sharks know about that. Well, unfortunately, when you watch a video, it's hard to watch. Oh yeah, this happened June 8th. All right. You hear somebody scream, "Help! Help!" The victim was not a military personnel, but an employee of the Naval Warfare Center, Panama City Division. He got attacked. He got attacked pretty badly. Luckily, he's in the hospital. From what I understand, he was taken to the hospital. He was able to get himself to shore and survived. But most Floridians are like, why was he in the marina? You don't swim in the marina. And maybe he didn't know. They say marinas are some of the most dangerous places because this, like I said, that's where fishermen will clean and gut their catch. Sharks know this. Bull sharks like that area. Somehow he made out. He has injuries to both arms. Lucky to be alive. First responders rushed him to a nearby hospital, and it's a miracle. And the Florida, I mean, again, it's the most beautiful water. In fact, on the Panhandle, they call it the Emerald Coast. When you look at it, it's like emerald green, just so beautiful. And don't think that sharks don't care about the shallowness. They have no problem being in shallow water because that's where they want the food. That's where they want they really like brackish water. They like where things get dumped. Like I said, where fishermen dump their unused catch. Watch out for your pets. I saw a lot of dogs running around the beach. Sharks will go after them. So what do you do if a shark approaches? All right. So you want to, you can't play dead. I understand with a bear, they're like, well, try to play dead. Try not to look like you're going to attack it. With a shark, you're moving in the water no matter what because you're trying to stay afloat. So you're not going to be able to stay super swell. You do want to be calm. Keep your eye on the animal at all time, even if they go low. Right? Very definitively, but calmly get yourself to shore. If they're going to attack you, hit the eyes, hit the gill, hit the snout. All right? Don't try to splash a lot. No erratic movements. Maintain the eye contact and swim back. Now, sharks like to get you from behind. Always face the shark. Keep rotating back away slowly. You should have a knife on you. When we scuba dive, we have a knife attached to us. Always have a knife. So you could grab it and you could hit it. It might not kill it, but at least, on the first blow, but it's enough to get it to leave. It doesn't like to be punched or poked or scratched in the eyes, gills, or snout. And I know you don't want to put your hand near its mouth, but you're going to have to attack. You're going to have to defend yourself. Get out of the water as calmly as possible. Keep screaming help. Hopefully there's first responders and people there. And then you're going to have to apply immediate pressure. You're going to be bleeding very profusely. And so if it involves a major limb, somebody's going to have a tourniquet ready. And most people don't have belts on the beach. So what you might want to do is have some of your own gear before you go out there. God forbid there's something going on. And then you want to lie down, keep your blood pressure stable. If there's fluids, drink, but, try to keep your airway clear. You might have to lay on your side. But these shark attacks are, they're scary stuff. Now I was just in Alaska. So with bears, it is a little different. Okay. With a bear, you don't want to look like you're a threat. You're fishing. A bear sees you. Sometimes the bear will just walk by. I was in Montana, saw some bears, was like, see ya. Not anywhere near your cubs, not anywhere near your dens. But unfortunately, people get killed. In fact, I heard that on the base up in Anchorage, there were a couple people that got killed by bears because the base has a lot of acreage and they might have gone hiking and might have walked by a den and not known. I mean, if a bear sees you by the den, the bear's going to attack you. They're not going to go, oh, well, that's human. I can't attack it. And so, if they think you're trying to eat its food or something, if they feel threatened, don't run. When you see a bear, don't be like, bear, and start running, because that might trigger, just again, move slowly, keep your eye on the bear. Sometimes you can play dead. But I prefer the yelling and screaming. And so there's a couple different ways to do it. If you're attacked by a grizzly bear, there's, you could, for the grizzly bear, they say to play dead on your stomach, convince it you're not a threat. For a black bear or predatory attack, you're going to have to fight back. Don't run, but yell, scream, look loud, and sometimes the bear may leave. But they say you can't play dead with the black bear. You can play dead with the grizzly bear. I don't know if I could tell the difference, but you obviously want to learn the landscape before you go, and then get yourself to a car. If you do have to fight back, again, you should be having a knife on you. I don't know why people aren't carrying knives. If there's a rock, a stick, bare fists. Again, you might have to hit its snout, eyes, muzzle. Most of the time, the bear is tall, and so you're only going to hit its tummy. That won't do much. Maybe step on its foot, but you got to make yourself large, noise, scream, and yell. Now, one thing, though, you can do is identify yourself. All right, bears understand that humans aren't much of a threat. So go, hi, I'm Dr. Daliah. Nice to meet you. Not here to bug you. Bear spray can work, but I mean, you gotta get kind of close to it. That's the only problem. 1-877 Dr. Daliah. Don't go away.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit, and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Welcome back to the Dr. Daliah Show, 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. So thank you all for the birthday wishes yesterday. But yeah, my birthday sucked. It was a horrible day yesterday, just absolutely horrible. For the first part of it, I think I'm done with red eyes. I think I'm at the age where I can't be up all night. I definitely am not at the age to party. I can't party all night. I'm way past that. That I'm done with. But I took a red eye because I like direct flights. I don't like to do multiple stops. I like to, when I need to get home, I need to get home. So we flew back from Alaska. It was fairly inexpensive. I had points, used Southwest. They had a direct flight back. I'm like, great, I'm saving money. I can't sleep on planes. do a red eye, get back because I couldn't sleep on the plane, went and did my show. Sorry, guys, if the show sucked yesterday. Hey, I did the best I could. But it's as good as I can. Thank God for Daniel, because he makes every show, good. What I give him, it's like he's able to make it's like giving a chef, a chicken breast and then them coming out with cordon bleu and all this fancy stuff. They're just, thank God for Daniel. But anyway, so I get home from my show and I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed. Okay, and of course the dogs are like, yay, mommy home. Yay, now we get to play. And then she gets to rub my tummy and I do pee-pee house. I don't know. Yeah, for some reason the dogs, especially Snort, decides to pee-pee in the house multiple times when I was gone. My son stayed home with the dogs and I just really, I have to swim to get back to my room. Are you kidding me? So after cleaning up pee-pee and doing all that, I try to go to sleep. They only let me sleep for about an hour and a half. And then one of the monitor, not the fire monitor, the chirping you get with the fire, not the alarm, the detector, the smoke detector. It was the carbon monoxide detector starts going off. Well, one of my dogs hates that and has a major issue with that. So I run around one to try to find out where the monitor was. So I'm pulling off all the smoke detectors. And then I'm taking them outside, and that's not the one that's chirping. So finally, after about the 8th or 9th one, you finally find it. And then I didn't know what to do with it, and the dog is going crazy. So I just put it outside. I figure my neighbors, they've got to be at work or something, right? Because it's only 1, 2 in the afternoon. And as I'm coming back into the house, Snort is full of blood. And I'm like, are you having your period again? Because she's not spayed or neutered. Neutered, right? Girls are neutered, boys are spayed. I forget. But it's her foot. And I go back inside the house, blood everywhere. I go, what the hell happened to your foot? She's like, okay, time to eat. I go, no. What? And then, of course, there's more pee-pee. I'm like, what is wrong with your foot? So I'm trying to look at the foot, and I think she might have caught her nail on something. I don't know, but it looked like the toe. There was all this flesh coming out. So I'm trying to stop the bleeding. And my husband had gone to work for a little bit. And I'm like, I think we got to take the dog to the doggy hospital. There's blood everywhere. He's like, oh, it might just be a little dislodged nail. No big deal. I'll take a look at it. I go, we need to take her in. I'm exhausted still because I didn't get to sleep. I only slept for an hour. You still hear the chirping. So the other dog is running around going, you need to deal with this. Also, I haven't even brought up the cats. Okay. The cats are like, excuse me. Okay, Brock does not feed us the delicacies that you do. He didn't serve it on China. This was not what we signed up for. The dogs drive us crazy, and I slept in pee-pee too. And I told the cats, I just need you to just take a break, please. Just give me a break. Let me deal with the dog and the bleeding. So I wrap it up, and it's bleeding through the gauze, and I'm wrapping it up. And the dog's like, oh, playtime, yay, rub tummy, count my nipples. Snort's a French bulldog, and the nipples are like really, they're huge. I just don't understand that. And so I finally get the bleeding controlled. Corey comes home. They take the dog to the vet. The vet says, oh, it's fine. Let's just wrap it up. But it's bleeding through. So then the dog, then the vet does what I, do with humans is we numb up the toe, remove the damaged nail, bandaged it up. So in the meantime, while they're doing that, I get to clean up blood everywhere. And it's like, just stairs and hallway, and everywhere I turn around, there's more. So I get it all cleaned up, everything washed. I'm doing laundry. Now it's like 4 or 5 o'clock. Dog comes back, starts bleeding through the bandage some more. All night long dealing with that. Then she wants to jump on the bed. I'm like, no jumping on the bed. And then she goes on my pillow. She likes to put her butt on my pillow. So now there's a streak of blood across the pillow. Anyway, so I after doing laundry all night, I finally make it back here. Because I was like, oh, did you go out? Did you go out? And meanwhile, this is interesting. The phone kept blowing up because it was my birthday. So I put do not disturb, because I was going to sleep. I'm like, look, after I clean up all of this and deal with the cats and boy, the cats, oh boy, that took, first you have to beg their forgiveness. You can't just feed the cat and think they're gonna be happy. You actually have to get on one knee and beg each cat's forgiveness for whatever it is they're ticked off about, and then they'll deign to allow me to feed them and serve them their meat cutlet Purina thing, but it's got to be served on this silver and whatever. Okay, so after I go through all that, like, woo, happy wife, happy life, happy cat, you're allowed to live. So, after we get through all that, I didn't realize, the people were wishing me a happy birthday through all this. And, I'm like, thanks. Okay, yeah, love you, back at you. Thank you, love you, thank you. Yeah, I'm a year older. I feel 20 years older. I'm jet lagged. I'm tired. And so, and apparently somebody's like, do not disturb. You never have do not. Are you okay? Did you have surgery? I go, no, I didn't have surgery. They go, it's saying that you don't want notifications. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Okay, calm down. And mind you, I just dealt with the cats, so I can deal with anybody now. Like, it's okay. I will undo the silencing of the notifications. What was silence notifications? I thought that was just me getting some quiet. It was the first time I ever did it. I didn't realize that people get notified that your notifications are silenced, and they're like, well, why are you silencing my notifications? Because you're bugging my ass, and I'm trying to deal with the blood of the cat and the dogs. I haven't even pottied, and it was a red eye, and I should just have stayed in Alaska. So I still haven't gotten back to everybody. So for those of you that did wish me a happy birthday, thank you. But going back to these red eyes, and I shouldn't be jet lagged because Alaska's only an hour difference. Right? It's only about an hour difference, so it's an hour less than where I am Pacifically, but Eastern time 4 hours. But it's the I really need my cycles. I go to bed at about 11, 12 o'clock. I wake up at about 6 in the morning. I should go to bed sooner. I've been trying to go to bed sooner, but just dogs and cats and everything else. The dogs want a bedtime story, and there's probably some pee-pee house or something I have to do, but I just don't end up falling asleep till about 11, 12 o'clock. And so I used to do 36-hour shifts. You'd in medicine as a student, as a resident, you'd go in at 3, 4 in the morning to check on your patients, pre-round. Then you'd round with the residents at 5, 6 o'clock. Then you'd round with the attending at about 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. Then you'd have to deal with all your patients. At the end of the day, when everybody was going home at 5, 6 o'clock, you had to stay to do call. So everybody's like, see ya, this is how we do it. They're all dancing as they're leaving. This is how we do it. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. I got to go fix all the things you screwed up. All you guys did were rectal exams on patients. I have to actually order labs. So I would then, do the work that everybody else screwed up on. If they did, then you're working all night. So still not seeing bed. Next day comes, and when the shift finishes at 6 o'clock, then you get to go home. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I passed my boards. I don't know how I did it. I don't even remember because I never slept, so nothing got put into memory. But I did, and but wow, now that I'm older, dang. So how do you get over that? Well, first, try to still stick to a schedule. Okay, don't do a red eye if you can. But unfortunately, there's some places where that's just the cheapest route to do and the easiest route. But sometimes you could use melatonin. I don't like to. I would just rather do my schedule, try to use natural light, and take some naps. But thank you again for the birthday wishes. I'll try to celebrate today. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Dr. Dahlia here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.